Good afternoon. My name is Zeke Aguilera, and I am in the registrar's office. You are joining us either from your computer at home or your office, and our lovely guests that decided to show up and be in our audience today. We appreciate your time. Basically, you're here to either learn for your first time how to get into CAP and how to utilize it for advising purposes for your students, or you are a seasoned veteran and you're trying to see what kind of new little nuggets that we got for you in CAP. So as you can see right now, we have our CAP website. This is off of the registrar's homepage. These resources are available for students, faculty, and staff. Currently I'm in the CAP homepage. As you can see, it gives you a brief explanation of what CAP is and its purpose. Gives you a couple of links, how to generate a new evaluation for students, for faculty and staff over here, and how to interpret a degree evaluation. It's a PDF file that you can download. We do have to do some updates. We have had some changes in a recent year. So we will update those shortly here after this presentation. If you have questions for students, direct them to degree.eval@uah.edu. For faculty and staff, if you would direct your questions to our cap@uah.edu email. Some helpful links for those of you that are getting ready for graduation: commencement, apply to graduate, and Banner self-service if you're ready to log into your self-service account to go ahead and see CAP in all its glory. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started fairly quickly here. Our audience is still trying to log into their self-service account, so I will kind of walk through the login process as a faculty advisor, faculty staff advisor. You want to click on the Enter Secure area right here. You type in your A number, and it is case sensitive. So you're seeing my A number, so I better not see anything on my account. I'd really appreciate it if you wouldn't log into my account. And I forgot my password, so it may take me a couple of tries. There we go. Okay. I was just trying to show you, if you did not log in correctly, that you would get an error message. I know my password and my login information, so that was just a test for you guys. So getting started right away, let's click on the Faculty Services tab up here at the very top. At the very bottom, you'll see the Degree Evaluation CAP link. Okay, we click on that. By default, I go ahead and leave the current term as is. It doesn't really matter for you. It's just the current term that we have available for registration. Okay, we're going to use one of our sample students. His name is Brick Waller. Case sensitive again, you want to type in his A number, his or her A number. Okay. Tells you who the student is. Make sure that you're actually advising the correct student. Click Submit, and right off the bat it tells you what their current curriculum is. You can tell what their program is, what catalog term, what level, college, degree, major, concentrations if applicable. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to generate a new evaluation. Hold on one second. Okay, I've been asked to slow down a tad bit, and I will do that. I don't like being recorded, so that's probably why I'm going extremely fast, so I can get in and get out. Okay, are we all caught up? Do we need to go back? We're up? Okay. I will slow down. At the very bottom, you'll see Generate New Evaluation. Every time you see a student, you want to generate a new evaluation, and what that'll do is if there's any changes, any modifications to the student's program, there was a substitution, they registered for classes, they added or dropped a class, you want to generate a new evaluation. All those changes, once they're processed into Native Banner, they're automatically populated into their new degree evaluation when you generate a new one. We'll go ahead and click it. In this case, Brick Waller's primary program, is a BSBA in marketing. Go ahead and click the little radio button on the left-hand side over here. Again, we just leave the term on its current term, and then you generate new request, and it takes a few seconds. Depends how much traffic is on Native Banner at that time or at that point. When you're advising students, I recommend that you have them log in on your computer or a computer next to you, so that way if they want to print their degree evaluation, your A number doesn't come up, your information. That's what I recommend. That's what I would do if I was advising a student. And they see the exact same thing that the advisor sees, the student sees. It's not a special screen for the advisors. Here at the very top, you see current GPAs. As you see, the required row, it tells you what the requirement is. In this case, UAH requires students to have a 2.0 in their major, 2.0 in their minor, and if there's not a minor, it won't populate anything. For business students, they have to have a 2.0 in their core curriculum. It's a 2.0 as well, and then overall they have to have a 2.0. The actual is a calculation that's done either in Banner or outside of Banner, and it calculates the courses that have been met for that specific area, in this case the major, minor, or core. So the student has a 4.0 in the major, a 3.5 in the core, and a 3.3 overall. Okay. This feature I really like. You see a detailed tab and a summary tab, and this will be really beneficial for students who just want to get a synopsis of what they have completed and how much they have to go. So right now we're in the detail tab, and it gives you all the information. It tells you what the requirement is on the left hand side over here, and then over here under satisfied, it tells you what courses have been used to meet that requirement. So if you click on the summary tab, it still gives you the same information up here with the GPAs. It gives you a brief synopsis of what program they're under, but it shows you what courses have been used to be met under that specific area. So for business general education requirements, it shows you all the courses that have been used to be that have met requirements in that area. Marketing core, it lists all the courses. When it shows up like this, red, and it shows up as unmet, it shows you things that they are lacking. So as far as the marketing major management, they haven't met 12 hours of required courses and the electives. So they basically haven't met any courses in the major. The electives, they have the 12 hours required, and they're listed as such. So I think that's really beneficial when you're advising students and you want to get a quick synopsis of where they're at. So we'll go back to the detail tab. Up here you see their program description and program evaluation. Very important in the program description. See if I can work this. See right here? Well, I covered that up. Technically challenged. There you go. Let's try this again. Oh yeah. So you have fall 2012. The catalog term is very important, especially if there was changes from one catalog term to the next. You have a student that's been on the spring 2012 catalog for a year or two, but there's a new requirement or less hours required, and the student wants to change to that catalog. We have to change the catalog in order for those changes to show up on their degree evaluation. I changed a lot in that sentence. So if that makes sense, the catalog term basically drives CAP. So if there's a change from one catalog to the next, you need to make sure that you update the catalog term so those changes will be reflected. Okay. Other information on the program description, you have the program, college, major, and minor. Over here under the program evaluation category, it shows you what the requirements are, either institutional, or all these are institutional UAH requirements. Most of our degree programs are 128 hours. Under the use column, it shows you how many hours have actually been used towards the degree program. Required institutional, you have to have at least 32 hours for a 128-hour degree program at UAH. The rest can be transferred in. There's some rules depending on whether the courses are junior college or from a four-year university. So, and then 12 of the last 18 have to be here at UAH. Most of us are aware of that. We're seasoned vets in advising students. So we'll go ahead and continue on here. The basic layout for a CAP template or a degree evaluation is you have the program level. Within the program level, you have these requirements at the top. Most of them are credit requirements. And within the program level, you have areas which include, but it's not limited to, general education requirements, major, minor, concentration, general electives. And each area has a header, as you can tell up here, business general education requirements, core requirements, marketing major requirements, general electives up here, and that consists of the program. So within the areas, you actually have the detail, the actual course requirements. I think 99% of our programs have strictly course requirements. There's nothing that's not a course requirement outside of graduate studies, who has other exam and paper requirements outside of the course requirements. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the details. Each area is made up of either rules, which is a set of courses that are embedded within the rule that list the requirements as stated in the catalog or in your program of study. So for example, the first rule is the English composition rule within the general education requirements. Listed in there is English 101 and 102. So if I complete 101 but I don't complete 102, then out here at the far left it'll say not met. In this case, the student has met both the 1 and 2 compositions, so obviously it says met. It'll list the term once the student has satisfied the requirement in which they've taken the course. It'll list the actual course, subject and number, title, and credit hours, grade, and the source. So under the source, there's a couple of things within that. It'll either be a transfer course, a UAH course, or when we make some type of adjustment, which includes a substitution, a waiver, or anything like that, that'll be under the source as well. When you click up here under the area header, it'll actually produce a PDF that lists the requirements for each specific rule, because obviously since the courses are not listed categorically down the line, some of the students are going to be wondering what the requirement actually is, and instead of having to go to the catalog, you can click on the PDF and it produces the list of classes. So exactly as you saw in CAP, you have the English composition rule. It tells you I can take either English 100 or 101 and 102, or if I'm in the honors program, I can take English 105. So I think that's a really neat tool, so that way you don't have to go through different resources. It's all in one place for you to advise the students. Another feature that we've been trying to debug, it's not really working 100%, but if you want to know specifically what's required for that rule, instead of having to bring up the entire area. We're working on this, so bear with us as we work to make that better. If you click on it, it should take you to a web page, and it takes you directly to what the requirement is. So that's kind of nice. It still lists all the other requirements, but it takes you directly to that requirement. That's not available for all the colleges as far as us listing what's required for that rule, and but we're working on that again. So once that is up and running, you can actually direct students to that link, and it tells them exactly what they need. So there's no questions, there's no confusion, and that's what we're trying to do with this. Any questions so far from our audience here? No? I think they're scared of asking questions because they don't want to be recorded. So we'll go ahead and continue. Let's see, what else? At the bottom, you'll notice that it gives you a total of hours right here. It may be a bit misleading, especially during registration, because it'll show up a total of hours for courses that they're registered for, that they have completed, and let's see what else. Yeah, it's going to be both categories. They're registered and they have completed. So it's a little misleading because it does count the hours. And it does also count the hours at the very top up here. And let me erase that. It kind of... Nope, didn't work. Let me erase that. So it is going to count the hours right there as well for the registered hours. So just be aware of that when you're advising your students. And let's say they're last 2 semesters and it shows up right here under the use column as 128. Yeah, at the time they were registered for everything, but at the end they happen to drop a course and they're like, hey, what happened? I had 128 hours. How come I'm not graduating? Well, that's what happened. You dropped a class and you went below the required hours. Okay. I know a common question is, why can't we get the major GPA to show up under the major heading over here in the major area? And the reason we can't is that would require us to pay a lot of money to have Ellucian give us a nice little upgrade, and unfortunately we don't have that money to do that. So in the meantime, the GPA is way up here, but I think we can live with that because at least it calculates it for us. We don't have to manually do it. There are little what would you say, the GPA does have a little bugginess to it, the major GPA. The overall GPA does come from Banner, so that is 100% accurate. The core and the major minor GPAs, if students have classes that they've not passed, completed, have received either a D, C, and an F or anything like that, and they've repeated courses, it does account for the repeated course once that course has been completed or met in the major area. Does that make sense? That was a lot of information. Yes, Vicki?
One thing, even though the GPA is at the top, if you're down here in the marketing core, it will say unmet if you're below that required 2.0.
Correct.
So that's a good feature that we've got going.
So what she's saying is, if your GPA in the major up here is below a 2.0, oops, that it will show up as not met up here. Okay, so you do have to have, we have internally in Native Banner, we have required the major to have a 2.0 major, but obviously it doesn't calculate it the way UAH calculates the GPAs within Banner, so we had to do that outside of Banner at the top, but it does indicate whether it's been met or not. Yes?
On the GPA calculation in Banner, it doesn't give you the GPA for all the transfer coursework, only UAH coursework.
Correct, and that's...
So
and
is
that,
GPA the same? It's just the UAH coursework GPA?
correct. And the reason we do that is because UAH does not calculate transfer work into their GPA overall, regardless. Some schools do that, but we do not. And that's part of the reason. And the way UAH calculates the major GPA to decide whether they've met the 2.0 requirement or not is that we also take into account, we don't take the last grade or the highest grade, we take all the courses that have not been excluded and have been repeated. So if I have to take marketing 480 and I've taken it 4 times, I've gotten a C, a D, an F, and an A. All those 4 classes are being calculated into the GPA. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I think as far as the detail, that's pretty much it. Underneath the program, the actual program, once you've gone through all the areas, you have currently registered courses, courses not used, and in this case we don't have the category, but below courses not used would be rejected courses. So if any course is being rejected because of a grade or because of a credit requirement or just any reason, any specific college requirement or that the student has not met, then a possibility of it being rejected would be great. But usually it's just dependent on a grade requirement. So if you have to have a C or better and you have a D, then that course is rejected, and it goes into the courses not used and also under the rejected courses, and it lists the reason. It would say area not met, grade requirement, or something like that. Any other questions so far? Okay, we're going to go ahead and proceed to a what-if analysis. When you're advising students and they either come from another college and they're talking to you because they're planning to move to your college, or they're within your college and they're deciding to change a major, instead of having to go into Native Banner, update all their information, and have to change it multiple times, or pull out multiple check sheets, programs of study, and fill them out and then compare them, you can run multiple what-if analysis. And you can do whatever program is approved at UAH, and basically the student has that access as well. But you can help them walk them through it. So over here at the very bottom, you see what-if analysis. It's on the far right-hand corner. Go ahead and click that. I typically like to use the most current term available because it gives you the most current requirements. And based on our policy, if a student changes majors, they must be moved to the newest catalog. So that's my mindset on that. And then you click continue. In this case, we are going to go from business to science, and we're going to make him a biology major. And as an advisor, I know a biology major has to have a minor. And I know that the student is coming from business school, so what other minor could we use? We could use a general business minor. So that would be great. So you click on continue. Campus, you don't have to identify it. We don't have any alternative campuses. It's all home institution. So you go ahead and select the major, and if you want to add more, in this case I am going to, you click on add more. Biology doesn't have concentrations per se unless they're doing the exercise physiology concentration. So I'm going to go ahead and add more so I can get to the minor. And this is our list of minors plus some other categories that unfortunately are extracted from the HR database as well. So we don't have all of these minors, like we don't have Air Force studies. So just FYI. So we're going to go ahead and select the business administration minor. One little, I guess, issue with CAP is it doesn't like to do double anything. So it does not deal well with double majors. It does not deal well with double minors. Is that correct, ladies? Does it do okay with double minors?
It does. It doesn't calculate both grade points.
The GPAs, okay. So it does okay with the double minors. It just doesn't calculate the GPA for the second minor. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and submit. And it tells you what you've selected. The entry term is fall 13. It's going to use that for the catalog term. BS Biology, Bachelor of Science, first major Biology, first minor, Business Administration. And we're going to go ahead and generate. And it does take a few seconds, and usually it just depends on the traffic. And since everybody's on spring break, or is going on spring break, it's going really fast. So again, program description, this is exactly what you selected. It tells you what the requirements are as far as institutional requirements, 128 hours. You can see over here that out of the hours that I have for my business degree, only 77 are being used towards my Bachelor of Science degree, which is okay. It's kind of late in the game for BRIC to change majors and minors, but it does happen. We live in reality and we know that this happens. Science is structured a little different. They have their major at the top, and then their general education, then electives. That was just a college decision that we made to handle theirs, so there's not a lot of repeats. You can tell that their major, he doesn't have any courses that have been used to fulfill any other requirements. You have no for both rules, and you can tell that there are no courses currently being used in the major.
And if you use the drop down, you can see everything that is required for this major.
You're talking about the link?
Yes.
The comment was that if you use the link over here for the PDF, you can actually print it off and see what's required of the student, and the student can do this as well. I'm getting good at this pen, if I do say so myself. Coming from business, obviously the minor, all the requirements have been met since he was coming out of business, which is good. He didn't lose too many hours. He lost about 30 out of the 110 that were being used towards his business program, which is not horrible. General electives, this would be expected for me if I was advising the students that the sciences, obviously he was probably a little deficient since he was coming from the College of Business, and since the College of Business doesn't require computer science, I think they have a technical course. We would just have to make an adjustment in that case for this student if they were moving to the College of Science. Okay. Any questions from the audience in FRC? That would be you guys here.
And there's that sequence check too.
Oh, yeah.
that you talked about.
For the College of Business, we don't necessarily have a sequence check because they already have them pre-built into their programs. For liberal arts, science, nursing, engineering, we do have a small little area, if I can find it. There we go. And basically what it does is the courses will be used within the general education requirements, but it does a little check to make sure that there's an actual sequence to fulfill the university requirement to have a sequence either in the history or literature. And I'll highlight that so you guys can see it. So it'll be sequence check, and it's been met, and it used level 1 English 205 and level 2 world literature, and that's acceptable by our standards here at UAH. Okay. Let's see. Oh yes, when you're doing all these what-if analysis, or you're trying to go back to a previous degree evaluation, a nice little feature for me is you can go back to previous evaluations. It's over here at the bottom, way at the bottom. Click on that, and it lists all the evaluations. It's date stamped, and it gives you a request number. So if you're corresponding with your advisee via email, you can say, hey, I ran this what-if analysis for you. Look at request number 8, and the student can click on request number 8, and it'll pull up for them. That way you guys are on the same page. So that's a nice little feature that I like. Every so often we do go in there and wipe those previous evaluations out. It's usually at the end of the term, or when the Office of the Registrar is running a batch process in our office, so we have to kind of clean it up so it could run faster. So every once in a while they are deleted, but for the most part it's there throughout the whole semester. And I think I already covered the double majors and dual degrees, but I'll cover that again for those that maybe weren't logged in at that time. CAP does not deal well with double majors. Double minors it does handle fairly well, except it does not calculate the second minor's GPA. Dual degrees, which is different, an example would be for Brick, he's doing a BSBA in marketing and a BS in biology. CAP can handle that perfectly fine. You just have to run the evaluations independently. You run one for BSBA marketing, you run one for biology, and it'll show you what the student is deficient in both. Double major would be I'm doing biology and chemistry. It does not handle that well. However, we can process those. You just have to contact our office, and we clean it up and we fix it up for you, and then life is good. As far as CAP and running through it, I think I'm done with that. I did want to show you one little nugget as an advisor. There is a link for you over here on the left-hand side, faculty and staff. So when you're actually advising your student, we encourage that you actually fill out a CAP adjustment form right there and then when you're advising them. So that way you fill it out, tell us and the registrar's office what you're trying to substitute or what you're waiving, get the appropriate signatures, drop it into a PDF in an email, and then send it to us, and then we process it, and the ladies are processing the CAP adjustments within 3 to 4 days, at the most 10 days during our busiest time. So the turnaround time is extremely fast, so I would not worry about having to wait a long time for these adjustments to get processed. And I'll show you a sample of a CAP adjustment form. So essentially you just type in the date, and I think it's not letting me edit this, which is fine. Basic.
The real one?
I'm sorry?
Instead of the sample, can we go to the real one?
Sure. Let's see if it works. It might be because the browser doesn't have Adobe downloaded or something. Yeah, I don't think the browser has, or this computer doesn't have Adobe uploaded or updated. But I'll walk you through it anyway. You enter the date over here. Don't actually write today. I think I would get mad if I received that. Student name, A number, major, and if they have a concentration, we'd greatly appreciate that. That would speed up the time, and email correspondences back and forth, and obviously the college. And then hope I don't break the monitor. Basically what you would do, let's say for example if I was trying to use CM 113, oops, for CM 313, so I would say upper division core CM 113, I'm just going to put transfer, but you would just list the institution and any comments if you wanted to add any comments in there for us. And then there's also another area over here to add comments for an additional waiver or anything else for that student. If it's a typical substitution, the advisor's signature is fine. On most occasions we require department chair. If it's a college requirement, we require dean approval. If it's a university requirement, we require associate provost to make that exception. Any questions so far, or at this point? I think we're getting ready to wrap it up. Any questions, ladies, gentle sir? No? Okay, I think that's all I have for you today. I don't know how to stop the recording, so you might see me dip out this way and have John show us how to stop the recording. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, please email us, call us. We will answer your questions rapidly. We appreciate any feedback. Anything that you might suggest that will make CAP better is definitely necessary. We're trying to make your job easier as an advisor. We're trying to make the students' experience here at UAH as easy and flawless as possible. CAP is not perfect. CAP does not do everything, but CAP will do most of what you want it to do. So thank you, and have a good afternoon and a good spring break for you faculty members. For us staff, we're here through Thursday. So have a good weekend and a good spring break. Thank you.